Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Now, we've got another story about Patrick Harvey. I always think he's excellent value for money. Every time he opens his mouth, we get lots of things to laugh at, to ridicule, and to point how mad and out of touch he is. Not just with the vast majority of people in Scotland, but with, reality and common sense. His latest wheeze is one that is truly worthy of the pantheon of stupidity, for which, of course, he has many, many statues. People go along and point to the various aspects of things he said in the past. This lunatic. But, of course, he's worse than that, because he's an extremist. He's far left. He's a Marxist. He's a lover of baby killers. He's someone who wants to destroy the economy. He's someone who wants to spread misery and poverty, because he's had a very sad, joyless life. But then waking up every morning, looking in the mirror and seeing Patrick Harvey would be enough to give everyone a sad, miserable, joyless life. A man without friends, a man without intelligence, a man without a qualification to his name, and yet he somehow thinks that we will listen to him. Well, we do, but only so we can mock him, and mock him we shall. Let's see what his latest bit of sheer stupidity is, as we look at the level of dim that is the elf. Here he goes. So here's an example of how wrong you can be. I mean, literally, how wrong can you be in terms of what you intend your position to be. He wants to be net zero, to be clean, to have no oil, no reliance on oil, impossible. To have no reliance on fossil fuels, also impossible. We need them for things like, steel. It's the man. The trouble, of course, is he's so ignorant and stupid. He doesn't understand what we use oil for and what we use coal for. For example, some people are out there and they think, we don't need coal anymore. No, but you do like buildings, don't you? You do like things to be built, and so yes, you do need steel. And for steel, you need coal. We're not talking about heating it. We need coal to go into it, because there's aspects of coal that go in that give steel certain parts of its characteristics. Yeah, okay, deal with that. Reality. It's a bugger, isn't it? But there he is. So he's sitting there, the little imp, and he's as small-minded as he is small-statured. He really is a very low IQ man, but he doesn't understand the things he talks about. And so he's now anti-nuke. Wow! Just as the whole world is saying, actually, given the new design for nuclear stations and how safe they are and how reliable they are, and above all, how clean they are, he's against them. I bet if you asked him why, he couldn't tell you. I bet he doesn't know why he's against them. But of course he doesn't. He doesn't know how to operate a shoe. The man's a moron. But he's so against them out of principle that he would rather the country ground to a halt, people froze to death, no transport, nothing, rather than actually have an economy and put a nuclear power station there to run everything. Because you cannot run an economy on unicorn farts. There isn't enough wind, there isn't enough sun, certainly not sun, the top of Scotland. And so what the hell are you running industry on? Now, the whole of Britain, it's been calculated, needs 36 nuclear power stations just to run cars and houses. If every house was all electric and all the cars were electric, you need 36 nuclear power stations. That's before you even look at industry. And boy, industry needs a lot more. So what are we going to do? Are we going to rely on the little bit of wind that comes out of Patrick Harvey's arse, because it's the only bit of use for him? Set light to a fart, boil off the methane? Don't think so. Let's have a look at what this stupid little man is saying. Patrick Harvey doubles down on nuclear opposition amid warning Scotland will be painfully isolated. Scotland needs to wake up and smell the coffee and get behind nuclear power. But Green's MSP has not shifted his illogical and stupid stance, because he's an illogical and very stupid man. And that's the problem you got. Look at him. Look at the eyes. There's a man who talks about the things he knows, which is very little, and is incapable of learning, because you need a brain to learn. And he's a man of very little brain, isn't he? Greens Minister Patrick Harvey has defended his government's pursuit of clean, green renewables over nuclear development. Why? Why? He won't be able to say. It comes amid a warning Scotland will be left painfully isolated after 3/4 of the global economy back new nuclear power. Mr. Harvey appeared on the BBC Sunday show where he said other countries do not have the renewable potential of Scotland. Patrick, Scotland doesn't have the renewable potential of Scotland. The only way you can build all those renewable bullshits is importing stuff from other countries. And have you seen what it takes to build solar panels? Have you seen what it takes to build the car batteries? Have you seen the awful, awful mess renewables make? And are you understanding that a renewable bird chopper costs more in terms of energy to make it than it will ever produce in its entire life? Man, you are so dumb. You are so dumb. Anyway, his appearance, or it was branded illogical, by the Scottish Tories, who backed their Westminster counterparts. Andrew Bowie this week said the SNP's opposition to this is criminally negligent. The latest criticism aimed at the SNP Green government comes from the head of Nuclear Association, who told COP28 that they need to wake up and smell the coffee. Now, yeah, I can understand why some people were past tense, against nuclear power. When we started building nuclear power stations, we weren't doing it for power. We were doing it to create fissile materials for weapons. And they require far more dangerous types of reactor. But when you're talking about a reactor designed purely for electrical energy, they're incredibly safe and clean, massively clean. They represent zero threat. I mean, literally, they are so clean. They fail safe, and they have so many failure safeguards in them. It's actually almost impossible to make them dangerous because they're not designed to create fissile material. They're designed to effectively just be kettles with a turbine. That's all they are, and it is so simple to build them. There is a Boy Scout in America who built one in his back garden. That's how simple it is. That's genuinely true. Go and Google it. Seriously, do that. He built one in his back garden. Anyway, the climate conference in Dubai saw the US and the UK were among the countries to back the goal of tripling nuclear power capacity by 2050. Why only triple? 10 times. 10 times it. 20 times it. The more nuke stations you build, the better for everyone. It's very, very reliable power. It doesn't require wind, it doesn't require sun, it doesn't require vast amounts of raw materials going in to constantly burn it like gas and coal stations. All you do is push the button and drop a little bit of nuclear fuel in, it boils the water, away you go. As long as you get your control rods right, and they're all automatically controlled with manual systems, with backups to systems, with backups to the backups to the systems. And at the worst case scenario, they just drop straight in, bang, and shut down the reaction. It's absolute fail-safe. Nothing can go wrong. Anyway, Harvey, however, thinks advancement in technology will bridge the current problem of renewable storage. Yeah, batteries, yeah? Is that what you're saying, Harvey? Batteries? Go to Africa, see all the children running around, digging out 5,000 tons of earth to get 1 pound of lithium. Yeah? See the conditions these children are in. See the poverty, the squalor, the awful cost of the environment, as all you're doing is keep digging bigger and bigger holes. And tell me that's good for the environment. As they dig up jungles and remove whole ecological areas just to dig the soil out for little batteries, so that little stupid men like Patrick Harvey can sit there and go, oh, look at the good we're doing, as you're completely destroying thousands upon thousands of acres of African real estate, killing millions upon billions of animals, destroying whole ecosystems. So Patrick Harvey can feel good about himself as he tosses off about his green credentials. It's a little circle jerk of ignorant, stupid people in the Greens, isn't it? Anyway, he added, we do want the jobs where we get high quality jobs from is where Scotland has a strategic advantage, he said. That is in renewables, that is in green hydrogen. Oh, so burning things is good now, is it? Surely that's bad for the environment. Of course, hydrogen is good because the waste product is water, but you still have to create the hydrogen. How do you do that? Tom Gretrix, Chief Executive of the Nuclear Industry Association, said Scotland is painfully isolated from the overwhelmingly bulk of scientific and global opinion. He said we need new nuclear at a scale and a pace to hit net zero. Can't ever be hit. The word net zero is meaningless because physics, okay? Let's lose the term net zero and just say, let's make the world a bit better. That's fine. He said every credible modelling organisation from the UN to the IAEA to the CCC says that every country that is serious about cutting emissions has done so with nuclear because nuclear is clean. It is massively clean. No one has a problem with nuclear energy with modern nuclear reactors. Any reactor built prior to, say, 1990 may have an issue because they weren't built purely for nuclear energy. Till, it was only after the fallout of the Soviet Union they started building them purely for energy. But the modern ones, fantastic. Fantastic. Cheap, quick, clean, nothing wrong with them. It's only sad little inadequate scaredy men who don't understand what the hell they're talking about that object to them. Don't they, Patrick? Anyway, Scottish Conservative Shadow Net Energy Zero and Transport Secretary Douglas Lumsden said it is becoming ever more clear that the SNP Green government's narrow-minded opposition to new nuclear is out of step with experts and the rest of the world. If you're going to have a chance of meeting our ambitious net zero targets, nuclear power will have an essential role to play in our future. Yet while Green Minister Patrick Harvey seemed to be perfectly happy to take nuclear power produced in the rest of the UK from the grid, the SNP Green government remains illogically opposed to nuclear industry, investment or jobs coming to Scotland. That's all you got to do. Build them all in England and then just not sell the nuclear energy to Scotland and say, hey, you're cool. You're cool. You don't want nuclear energy. Then you can't draw off the rest of the grid and leave it at that. Is that really what you want, Scotland? Is that really what you want? And this is what happens when little idiots, I mean, honestly, the village idiot there doesn't know anything, totally ignorant, uneducated, is allowed to have a say. Bless. Now he needs to be thrown out of government because anyone that stupid should not be in charge of anything. Coming up. The little imp of ignorance, the little pixie of stupidity, sits there pontificating that, nuclear energy's bad, but he couldn't tell you why. Meanwhile, he wants to knock down 16 million trees, which he has done, to put up these bird choppers. Billions upon billions, if not trillions of animals killed. Whole areas of Scotland devoided of what they were, the natural beauty, just so they can have these huge towers that generate power sometimes when it's windy, not when it's not, of course. And then they want to cover the rest of it with solar panels, which are incredibly nasty and bad, and making them is horrific when you look at the resources that have to come out to make them. And again, for what? A country that doesn't really have a lot of sunshine. The man's a moron. And none of this will be enough just to power the houses that he's proposing. How do you do industry as well? Then, of course, he wants to destroy industry. And there we go. Because poverty. If he can impoverish the whole of the country, destroy the economy, have no one doing nothing, and everybody basically dying of starvation, he'll be happy. And yet the net upshot of it will be so small, it could not even be measured in the terms of the difference it makes to the world. And that is why little, sad, ignorant, stupid, Marxist extremists like Patrick Harvey need to be removed from power and basically locked away for their criminality, because to propose this is so anti-humane, so anti, everything that is decent with the world. But then he, of course, is a lover of baby killers and his long time gave up on decency. He's a degenerate, deviant, obnoxious little vertical shart of shit. And yet he's still in power. But for how much longer, we have to wonder. I have another story coming this afternoon, and it's all to do with how much the Greens are physically, in terms of real money, costing. And it's not cheap. Till then, stay safe, stay well, keep watching, and keep an eye out for that one. But we have another video coming up next. But then that one will probably be up about 5 o'clock, I think. But we shall see. Anyway, take care and goodbye.